and CEO and co-founder. A beautiful day outside in Rhode Island, and we've got Geb Masterson from Mott Chace joining us today. Geb, thanks so much for taking the time.
Josh, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start off sort of why Rhode Island is hot as a real estate market. May also have something to do with Boston prices. Boston prices came out today, the metro Boston area, which I think is like 63 or 67 communities. The median price of a single family home in Boston is $740,000. The median price of a single family home is $740,000, up 10% year over year from March of 2024 over March of 2023. What pressure does that put on the Rhode Island real estate market?
I mean, I think it's just natural. I mean, the Boston area is always going to be more expensive. I think those numbers make it about $300K more expensive than the median house here. I think we're at 440 for selling price and 450 for asking price. So why not? Why not drive? Depending on it's also depending on the work the work environment. If you only have to be in the office 2 or 3 days a week, if you're okay with a little longer commute, why not move to Rhode Island? I mean, just in the summer homes alone that we sell for secondary market, we have more people moving here from the Boston area because it's easier to get here than it is out to the Cape or Nantucket or the Vineyard.
Yeah, so we're seeing, I think, our March numbers up. We were about 4% up year over year. They're even seeing higher price pressure. They're seeing 10% up year over year. That's got to make folks, because you've got to be really upper middle class to be able to price that. It's got to be setting up more and more families to say, we've got to look down in Providence or East Greenwich or Barrington. We can take the train up. We can, however, we only need to be in the office 2 days a week.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. There's just the inventory is so low, Josh. I mean, we had an open house this weekend, and I literally had people. I had a woman crying in the front yard because she missed out on the house. It sold before the open house.
It sold before the open house.
Before the open house, it went on the day before. We had open house on Saturday. We had two written offers, one verbal offer the night before. There was a time limit on it, and they wanted us to cancel the open house, which we didn't want to, just for backup offers. And people came the next day, and we had to explain to them, I'm sorry, it's already under contract. And there was literally, one young girl, and she was distraught.
And in the case of that house, was it a high-priced, higher end of the market home or a lower end of the market home?
It was in the 850 range. So I would say, the higher, but it's more, around where we are in the Westerly area. We actually thought we were pricing it at a premium there. And then, the offers we got are above that. I mean, I think the people, when interest rates started rising a while back, I think people said, I'm going to wait. And then they didn't see them coming down anytime soon. So now more people are back in willing to buy. But there's just, I've heard so many stories of people going in, younger people, first or second homes, and they've bid on 8, 10, 15 houses, and you're at a disadvantage, if you can't say cash, if you can't say, no inspections. And honestly, right. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, you were on a couple months ago and made big news when I think there was one house for sale in Mott Chace. I know that number has skyrocketed as the spring selling season moving into summer. What are we at, 100, 150 homes for sale in the better greater Mott Chace area? How many are we at now?
We've tripled that number, Josh. We are at three houses.
Three houses. So lower than my 150 prediction, but higher than the one in January.
Exactly. And those range from 4.3 up to about 10 million.
Wow. Is there a discount if you gobble up all three, kind of Pac-Man style?
Oh, Josh, talk to me after the call. We'll work it out.
And what do you say? I mean, you've got to be getting phone calls after phone call or email after email from folks around the country who know of Watch Hill, want to come to Watch Hill, want to see at least what's available in Watch Hill, and you say, here's the link to the 3 homes.
Exactly. But, at the end of the day, the 3 homes are so different. One needs a ton of work. One is gorgeous. It's right on the water. And then the other one has views of the ocean, that doesn't need as much work, but an incredible location close to the beach. So it's there. But, we're also finding in the Watch Hill area, our market hasn't really picked up yet because our clientele is probably still south or they're traveling. Yeah. They haven't started coming back yet. And I've got a lot of clientele. I send them stuff. They're like, Jeb, I'm not going to be back till June.
Yeah.
So we wait.
Talk a little bit about some of the complexities of managing expectations about interest rates. We all thought, we all believed what they wrote in the Wall Street Journal or Goldman Sachs said a few months ago that there would be 3 rate cuts and the world would begin to come back to what we perceive to be normal. In fact, inflation numbers continue to be very difficult. Jobs numbers continue to be excellent, which is pushing up wages, which is then making complexity of inflation. And now it looks like, according to Chairman Powell of the Federal Reserve, maybe 1 quarter point cut, and there could be none this year. How do you manage expectations on interest rates?
Honestly, Josh, I tell people, because I think you and I chatted about this last time. I think we'll be lucky if we get 1, and if we get 1, there might be a political aspect to that, to quote unquote, right before the election. But I tell everybody, expect the worst. We always say, buy the house, you date the rate. You can always get a different rate later on.
Right.
Once I think studies have been done for every quarter point or half point interest rate drop, there's another 5 million buyers who come back into the market. So go in now, and so you're not competing against all those people. When the rates do drop, and they eventually will drop, are we ever going to be back in the 3s? I don't see it in my lifetime unless, we have another disaster. But I think they'll be lower, 5s.
Could we see higher?
Oh, I think we could see higher. Yeah. I think they could get into the 8s, within the year, depending on how things go. Why not? I think it's, the interest rates are just another tool for them to jury the economy. Right. And if something else isn't working, they'll come back to that. But, for years, 10 years ago, they couldn't find inflation. For their best efforts to get inflation, we couldn't do it. Now.
There was a school of thought that we had to worry about de-inflation, that costs were going to start decreasing and would cause economic harm.
How wonderful would that be right now? Just a little.
So as you're managing sort of the spring buying season and into the summer down in South County, how are you managing people who really want to buy down there? With I think the inventory number of March over March was down 30%, according to the most recent data in Rhode Island. How do you manage that?
I think you just have to keep all your clients abreast of the market daily, if not weekly, and just say, listen, you have to be ready to act. When something comes on, you have to have all your financing ready. You have to be prepared to come in as clean as possible, with that offer, and be prepared to, most likely, if it's a multiple offer situation or if it's a well-priced property, you're going to come in over. And, when we have listings today, I'll tell people, listen, don't try to get the premium now. Price the house appropriately. Even if you price it a little low, because then you get the action, then you get the egos involved, then you get the pride, then you get the masters of the universe who come out of the woodwork and say, I have to have that house.
Is there any sense that during this summer season that we're just going to start to see prices really increase because folks, they're either a cash buyer or their financing is in place, they've come to a realization over the last 24 months about where inflation is, if they do need financing, and they're just going to go, I'm tired of waiting, life's too short, I want the house that I want.
Yeah, yes, I think so, Josh, in certain price points, anything from around where we are, anywhere from 4 to 800,000. I think people are very, very anxious to buy. And even the open house that we had this weekend in the scenario where we had multiple offers, I mean, they were significantly, 10% over, what we were, asking. So I think those prices will go up. I think the high-end prices will go up a little bit, but I don't think they're going to skyrocket. It's going to be the middle to upper tier that will skyrocket because people are frustrated and they have to have something.
And any relief in building? I know down in Narragansett, they're actually going the other way. They're putting more restrictions on construction. They're limiting the number of renters who can be in a property. There seems to be, despite the need for more housing, just a tremendous demand. Maybe, the argument's 25,000, maybe more like 50,000 units that may be needed in Rhode Island. Are we seeing anywhere where there's any relief and any improvement?
No, there was an article today, I think it was in the Journal, and it just say the housing starts are down, I want to say 20%, year over year. And no, we're not. I think certain municipalities will get it, and certain municipalities will still say, oh, no, you're not coming in here, we're overbuilt. And you compare municipalities, Westerly versus, say, a Cranston or a Providence, we're not overbuilt at all, and there is room for that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the zoning and the planning boards have to relax a little bit, and it can be done in a good way. I mean, when shops in the hospitality industry, when they have to import their people and put up, it's ridiculous. I mean, housing, the rental, you see stuff for 2,000 or 3,000. That's really nothing. That 2 years ago would have been 1,800, 1,500.
Yeah, I mean, much of the summer help coming in to help Newport is living in Fall River these days. And if you're in Westerly or in South County, there is no relief point. I mean,
no, I mean, we're getting people up from Connecticut,
right.
New London, Groton.
How does this play out through the end of the year, in your estimation, as you guide people who are buyers? Are you like, listen, here's the reality. Suck it up, Buttercup. We're at 7%. We might be at 8% interest rates.
Yes.
There's going to be limited inventory. Picking up on your point, you got to be ready to go. And do you go all the way to the point of, I'm sure you put it in a much more appropriate verbiage, beggars can't be choosy?
I would probably change that around a little bit, Josh. but yeah, I would agree. This is the new normal. And if you really want a place, and I think, you should have a place, you've got to accept the facts of the current market. And, there's limited inventory, it's basic supply and demand, which we all know. And you've got hundreds of buyers, fighting for 10 or 20 houses. And it is the new normal, and they have to be prepared for that. And if they're not ready, fantastic. But, just let me know when you are ready, and we'll continue then. But the prices aren't going down. You and I have chatted about this in the past also. I mean, we're getting people from the Boston area, from the New York area, the Fairfield County area. They're all coming to our tiny little state, which happens to have, fantastic amenities, water, boating, anything you want. And they like it here, and they love our beaches. So who wouldn't want to be here? And so, yeah, this is the new reality. They're going to stay in the 6, 7, 8 range, I think for a while. And you just have to work it in. And if not, you find something 10 minutes, further inland. We all don't have to be right on the water. If you can't afford to be on the water, go a little inland. I mean, if you have to be in a car for 3 minutes, you have to be in a car for 10 minutes. You're still in the car. You're not walking to the beach.
Yeah, but these numbers out of Boston, $740 median price, and the fact that it's a 10% year-over-year increase, we look like a bargain at 450,
Yeah.
and only a 4% year-over-year increase.
Yeah, it's like real estate arbitrage. Why wouldn't you buy here? You
Right.
know, and then it drives up all the prices here, and all the Rhode Islanders that have been here for a while. I mean, they feel like they're being gentrified. They're being moved out of their cute little neighborhoods, and it's unfortunately it's just the way it is. You know, and you have to be prepared, ready to go.
Ready to go. Listen, Geb Masterson, always a pleasure having you on. Sort of the guru of that lower portion of the state over in Watch Hill Westerly area. We always appreciate your insights. We'll have much more on the numbers and the data. Stay tuned for coverage on that on GoLocal, and much more coming up today throughout the day and into the evening. Stay tuned on that as well. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy this tremendous weather.